I had a conversation with Joey, and I didn't really talk to you too much about it, but we got into some pretty good depth about dealing with police specifically. I don't know how we got into it, but we were talking about a cop, and it's weird, but I guess you have to. You just in case, you got to have a conversation with kids. And I think especially boys, right? And I've told you that when it comes to boys, there's like it's just part of being a male human, that there are certain years that are fucking dangerous, And I was telling you, like, from 15, 16 to, like, I don't know, 25. It could be a fucking disaster. Like, you could make one wrong decision and your life is just completely different from that point forward, And sometimes, like, the testosterone, the attitude, and when you deal with police, like, I've seen a lot of different places online and where people get a certain attitude, and especially today. And you know what? A lot of times I get it and I understand 100%, because the way I feel about people that are in that position is that they are public servants. Not to say that they should be kissing our feet and we should treat them like shit because they are our servants, but they are to serve the people. They're here to make society's life better, to protect and serve. Like, that is what it's about. But like I've talked about before, sometimes when you give people power, it immediately goes to their head and they feel like, well, I'm the one that makes the fucking rules around here. You know what I mean? Right. And I was kind of just explaining to Joey, like, don't ever forget that at the end of the day, when you're talking to police, you're talking to a person with a gun. I
think he's going to be okay, though. You know why?
I understand.
I mean, because he looks white. No. Kidding.
Oh, he's gonna fucking Jose Ramirez is gonna enjoy that white privilege. Holy shit! They're gonna be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Excuse me, sir." And then when they fucking come back with his license, he's gonna get the shit beat out of him because it says fucking Jose Ramirez.
Up. We're kidding, by the way. We're just joking, okay? We're joking. Don't take any. But you mainly hear minorities speaking to their children about police officers.
I don't think so. I think
a lot of black families, a lot of Mexican.
Hispanics, yes, maybe. But I don't think it's just that. I think because if you get stopped and somebody's treating you, we had this happen. I explained this to Joey when I was talking to him. And I told him, I was like, look, just to be real, the majority of the time when something goes down, cops are not there. They're not. They get called and they show up after the fact. So throughout the regular day in society, I mean, a lot of cops or whatever's happening is like, I don't know if they're out sitting somewhere trying to catch somebody to write a ticket or whatever, but when something's happening, they get called over. It's not like they're there stopping it before it happens.
Right.
Maybe detectives and, people that are the drug task force and the gang task force and that kind of thing, they're doing something proactive, but when you get that power and you run into somebody, it's like, well, shut up. And like, if you even come off, even just asking questions sometimes, it's like they take it as like, who are you to ask me? I've had some awesome interactions with cops, and then I've had some that were not so great. But what I told Joey is, no matter what, always think about it as a person with a gun. And you always want to be the one to de-escalate. I was like, if you ever hear me get pulled over, and he brought up an example. There was one time that we were somewhere and Audrey was at a friend's birthday at a bowling alley arcade kind of thing. And I needed to go pick her up and something happened. I don't know what was going on, but I was running late. And you know me, especially with Audrey being at the bowling alley, I don't want people waiting on me to pick up my daughter from your birthday party. It fucking looks bad as a parent. You know what I mean? So I'm fucking hauling ass. And all of a sudden I get pulled over. And Joey was in the back seat. And when I got pulled over, the cop asked me, like, what's going on? I was like, sometimes cops are jerks. And sometimes cops are good. I was like, look, if I'm speeding or something like this happens and he gives me a ticket, I can't be mad at that.
Right.
I was the one doing wrong. I was like, sometimes they let you go. And I was like, you know what? And if you're a good like if you're just cool with them and just don't be a jerk, be super respectful and things will work out fine most of the time. You know, and he was like, and he brought it up. I forgot about that situation. He was like, yeah, the cop stopped us. And I told him, he said, you told him that we were going to be late to pick up Audrey from the party. And he said, and I told him, I was like, yeah, the cop told me. He's like, I know how you feel. He's like, I hate being late to pick up my kids. He's like, just slow down a little bit. And I was like, I don't know if you remember. I was like, thank you. I was like, I really appreciate it. Thank you for everything you do and, you know, whatever. But I told him, I was like, if you run into a good cop, somebody that's nice to you or whatever, make sure you tell them because they don't hear it. Make sure that you tell them that you appreciate what they're doing because they, you know, when something does happen and you do need them, you do want them to be there.
Right.
You know? But there was also that situation that we ran into in Florida where we're driving and a cop pulls me over and just starts being a straight up asshole for no reason.
Right.
And I told Joey, I'm like, there's no reason for him to treat me. Actually, he's the one that said it. So the situation, what happened was the law had just passed where when you have an emergency vehicle, you have to move over a lane, right? You have to leave the lane next to them open. That law had just passed and I had no clue. So there was a cop pulled over on the side of the road and I drove right by him. So he stopped what he was doing with whoever he was with and chased us down and pulled us over. And he's like, what are you doing? You remember we were on our way to go see my brother. And he's like, what are you doing? Didn't you see me over there? And I was like, yeah, like, I'm sorry, sir. I saw you over there, but I don't know what's going on. He's like, when you see an emergency vehicle, you need to leave a lane open and this and that. And he started yelling at me and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, sir. I didn't know that. And I'm telling you, like, I'm sorry, sir. Yes, sir. No, sir. Here's my license and registration. Like, I'm going back to fucking military days because at the end of the day, it's a person with a gun and there's nobody else out there on the side of the road with you. And guess what? And this is, like we've mentioned before, this is a game. And this is what I explained to Joey. When you go to court, whether you're right or wrong, the court will most likely side with the cop. So what you need to do is de-escalate the situation every single time. Treat it as a person with a gun and you're not going to get away with anything. As a matter of fact, you might get screwed. So de-escalate and try to get out of it.
That's so sad that you have to have that type of conversation, but it's real. That's reality.
So when we got pulled over and he starts yelling at me, I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't know about the law. And he starts saying, it's because of people like you that slam into emergency vehicles and kill us or kill people. And right when I said that to Joey, Joey's like, you've never hit anybody. And I was like, I know. I was like, that's why it was wrong for him to treat me that way.
Right.
I was like, and for one, they have the power. You've been given authority by the people. There's a certain amount of responsibility that you have not to abuse that power.
Right.
But because of the society that we live in, that doesn't always happen. So it's on us. And, you know, I think it's sad, but we have to have these conversations.
It's true. And you don't even think about that. You don't even think about these are certain conversations that we have to have.